decent team.
They are.
I mean, they're going to make a bowl this year.
Yeah.
So, do you agree?
Plus, you have to think. We talk about Louisville being hungover. Why not talk about Marshall being fired up and pissed off after being fucking just
because they were up big in that game,
just being owned last week at home. And like Sean said, they still put up good numbers offensively. So, yeah, I think all the intangibles, not just looking at it on the surface, kind of digging into it, does favor Marshall.
Listen, let's take a little bit easy here. Look, Lamar Jackson's playing great. We agree. But Leonard Fournette did the same thing last year, and he evaporated. So let's cool it here with August, September talk. That look, he's playing great. I'll give the kid credit. But they got a tough schedule, dude. They got Clemson next week. They got Houston later in the year. They may slip up at some point. To say he's better than Michael Vick is absolutely ludicrous. I mean, come on. Michael Vick was arguably one of the best college quarterbacks we've ever seen.
It's 3 games, and 2 of which he's done against Syracuse and Charlotte.
Right.
2 just terrible teams.
Exactly. Thank you. I
don't even look at it as. I just look at what he's done just from last week. I don't even look at what he did in the first 2 weeks.
It's
now it starts. Conference play has started. Put it together for another 7 weeks. That's basically.
Look, if at the end of the year he's still playing at this level,
right?
I'll even say, look, let me see it another year, because Robert Griffin did the same shit.
Yeah, but
Tim Tebow was.
That's just we're talking college,
But Tim Tebow was great his whole career.
Yeah, in college, yeah.
Let's see what Lamar Jackson has. It's been 3 games, like Ryan said, 2 of which were against South Florida or Syracuse and Charlotte. So, good point, Ryan. But yeah, I would go Marshall, Jeff, and the over. I like both those plays.
And let's not forget, Marshall's only lost 1 home game in 4 years. They're 18-1 at home. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not an easy place to play.
That's a great point. That's a cool atmosphere down in Marshall. They love their football. It's a small stadium, and look, I'll tell you another thing. Doc Holliday's a good football coach, so he's going to have them guys ready.
The herd.
I just think it's a great spot. I think it's a good point you made, Ron, as well, about them being a little pissed off. That's exactly what we're pissed off about.
Exactly.
Let's move on to Ryan. Let's let Ryan have his glory here. Ryan, you're talking Michigan, Penn State. Yeah. Where's your head at in this game? Don't tell me you're going to take Penn State.
It's funny. Well, it's funny because actually, it's Wednesday night. Actually, Monday, my head kind of was with Penn State.
Yeah, you mentioned
that's to me kind of where my head was.
Then you look at the injury.
Liking the underdog here, and then as I kind of just cap the game and look at things, I said, you know what? I like Michigan, and I like Michigan actually in a pretty big way here. PSU, I mean, where do you want to start with them? A nice bounce back win last week against Temple, a game which if they're playing a better team, they lose. They turned the ball over 3 times last week. The offense has playmakers with kids on the outside and then Barkley in the backfield, but McSorley's the question mark to me. He's just been so. The O-line is still terrible. Let's not forget that. This offensive line is still brutal, and they're going up against one of the best defensive lines in college football. One of the best defensive lines that, oh, by the way, gets back officially. Taco Charlton, a fantastic defensive end this week. He's back. Oh, by the way, Michigan gets back one of the best cornerbacks in college football in Jordan Lewis, who will be playing this weekend. And look, for whatever reason, too, Penn State in these spots does not cover these numbers. 5-15 ATS, their last 20 as a dog of 10.5 to 21, and 1-7 ATS, their last 8 as a road dog, 14.5 to 21 points. Michigan, I think the slow start last week was the best thing for this team. I do. We see it from time to time. Sometimes teams need that, and I think that kind of being brought back down to earth a little bit, having to struggle, get back in that game, and ultimately pull away. They don't cover, but they win by a comfortable margin. I just think all the intangibles and with the defense and the kids that they're bringing back, and just the defensive line should have a field day against PSU's offense. Thing that I point out too, okay. Saquon Barkley, who's arguably Penn State's best player, he rushed for 68 yards last year in this game against Michigan. 56 of which came on one play on the opening drive. So that means besides the opening drive last year, the rest of the game, this kid rushed for 12 yards against Michigan, whose defense may be better this year.
Right.
So
they have struggled against the run a little bit, though. I will point.
Who's
out.
that?
Michigan.
They haven't at all.
Well, I mean, they're not
actually
like shut
they're
down.
one of the
though.
better teams against the run in the country, but
They're actually not top 50.
just because UCF had a big second half against them.
I'm just saying they're not top 50. But I hear you. Their defensive line is going to get much better because, look, Charlton, Wormley, Rashawn Gary. Look,
the thing I like about Michigan too is they're scoring on not only offensively but defensively. They have, I think, 3 touchdowns, and special teams they have a couple touchdowns. So best game. They've blocked. I think the last 2 weeks they've blocked 4 kicks.
Yeah.
1 punt return for a touchdown last week. So they're scoring in various ways. I think Michigan explodes this weekend. I don't know why. It's just a gut feeling because Penn State's not good. All 3 of their starting linebackers coming into the year are hurt. They're gone. They won't be available on Saturday.
Their linebacking core is a mess.
I have a hard time envisioning a scenario, and this will be the 3rd straight week Michigan faces a spread offense. They've seen it. Right. They're ready for it.
Plus, you got a freshman quarterback. I agree with you, Ryan, wholeheartedly. I really like Michigan this week. They burned me last week, but I'll go back.
They've actually coming back and covering too.
And not for nothing, they've actually burned me several times this year. But
because you went against them week 1,
yeah. And then I had I actually gave them out as a free pick against who did they play before Michigan?
UCF.
There was one. I forget the game. I don't think it was UCF, but whatever. Either way, I agree with you. I think they. Penn State's just in a world of hurt right now.
They are.
And, you mentioned with Saquon Barkley, is he going to get going? McShirley's made some mistakes as well.
He has.
This is a real defense and a real football team. So I think you're going to enjoy your time out there, Ryan. I think you're going to get a big win.
Hopefully.
One thing I can recommend, make sure you bet this game. It'll be a whole lot sweeter at the end.
There you go.
Sean Harnish, do you have an opinion on this game?
Yeah, real quick.
You actually faded Michigan last week, if I remember correctly.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, I did on the money line actually, and it didn't look that bad.
No, it didn't actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that first half, like you mentioned, was really good for Michigan to bounce back and respond. So you know what they can do, and you sort of see teams once they go through that, just like good teams, sort of not coast, but play a solid game going forward. And Penn State hasn't covered a road game since since Trump was on The Apprentice. I mean, it's been years. It's bad. How about your boy Jamil Peppers was named Player of the Week in college?
The Heisman Trophy race is heating up, Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on him.
9.5 tackles for losses this year. Leads all of college football.
He actually follows me on Twitter too. By the way, I'll just point that out.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Well, that's because you basically suck his cock every day.
This could be a drubbing. It could be ugly.
Yeah.
I don't know about laying them a number, but it could get ugly. It'll probably be a fun game. I'd say that.
I say 45-20.
Michigan's won 32 of 34 Big Ten season openers, so.
Good number, Sean. Yep.
They like that number.
There you go. I agree with you, Ryan. I think that's a quality play. Your plays this week are Michigan minus 18.5, and then you got Michigan State minus 5.
Yep.
You're going all Michigan this week. Yep. Ryan, by the way, my girl Ashley, Ashley, she's listening in. She asked me, that Taco Charlton's real name is Taco?
It is.
Is that his given name?
Well, it is not his given name.
It's not his given name. It's got to be something.
It's a nick.
I was going to say, wow.
It's a nickname.
Okay.
It is.
Well, you never know. I mean,
No,
maybe it's like tacos.
It is his nickname.
Why is his name Taco? What's up with that?
I haven't figured that out.
Now, you know every other fucking thing about Michigan, but you don't know this.
I'm sure you can find out. Just Google it. I'm sure you can find out.
Why don't you gargle one of your reporter's balls and ask them? But let's go through a couple others. Sean, let me ask you, do you have any games that you want to chat about here?
He's got to have a few.
Pick a letter, A, B, or C.
I was good B.
See, you screwed
how
up.
about Ball State?
What's that?
Ball State. Random game, I know, but Ball State laying 3.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually, my scores and odds is actually right on that game right now. So,
Well, there you go.
What do you see in that game, Sean?
What do I see in that? Let me pull it up so I can get the numbers going here. If I could find the game.
You got Ball State minus 3.5 at Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic off of it. They were absolutely hammered by the Kansas State Wildcats, 55-7.
Yes.
I got to be honest, Sean. I would rather bet on Eastern Michigan and Wyoming than this game.
Well, I'll tell you this. Florida Atlantic's rush defense is fucking bad. And Ball State's going to look to just run it down your throat. They ran for over 50 times twice in 3 games. I understand it was against Indiana, Eastern Kentucky, whatever, but all 3 of those had better rush defenses than this Florida Atlantic team. They should be able to control the pace. We're talking about a Florida Atlantic team that averages only 15 first downs a game. They don't control the clock. I just think Ball State, I know it's on the road and everything, but I could see them really rolling in this game. I like this one. Not a client play, but just something a little extra I was looking at.
Definitely obscure. Sean Harnish, definitely obscure. Donnie Rarick, I think a solid play is Oregon at home against Colorado. Agreed. If Sifa Lufau does not play, agreed. Because Gonzalez, the backup, is a mess. I mean,
talking about Colorado?
Yeah.
Their backup, the backup that came in against Michigan last week, true freshman.
That's what I'm saying. Gonzalez,
he's true freshman.
He's a mess.
So he just doesn't look like he's ready at all.
Agreed. I think Oregon at home. I will point out, Mark Helfrich is a nut. I mean, he's a mess. I don't know that he's a capable head coach. The 2-point thing, I got to admit, I would probably do. But if it wasn't working, I would stop. And they're 4 for 10 this year.
I'm not a fan of it at all.
Yeah, I would take the guaranteed points. And you look at last week, they go for it 5 times and lose by 3.
Yep.
They only get
Do
1.
the math
so
there, Helfrich.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
I mean, do you find it kind of ironic that now that Chip Kelly's kids are pretty much gone,
they can't win?
They're just kind of non-existent.
Agreed.
And people thought, well, maybe they'll have a bounce back. And they just haven't. I think
Helfrich doesn't even look like.
I think it's clear. Yeah, he looks like a guidance counselor.
And he's growing that bearded now. It's like what are you doing, dude?
Yeah,
like,
it's weird.
By the way, them not covering against Virginia was brutal. That was a brutal. I mean, that was actually on bad beats.
That was.
I mean, they get the touchdown called back, and then they just throw in the towel. I'm just brutal. It actually, the over didn't cover either because of that.
Nope.
So, just a brutal game. Sean, I want to thank you, man. You're doing some really good stuff over at your website and on Twitter, and you've been, like we've talked to you before. Obviously, you've been a great supporter of me and the show, and you're probably one of my favorite guests on here. So, thanks for coming on as always, and we'll look forward to hearing you real soon again.
Thanks, Sean.
All right, have fun this weekend.
Thanks, appreciate that, brother.
All right, hey Sean, I will. By the way, Sean, make sure you call me because I want to chat with you about something a little bit earlier on your Periscope. So give me a call.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, brother. See ya. Sean Harnish joining us as always. Great guest.
Yeah, always.
Always has good stuff. He mentioned like Ball State. How about that?
Yeah.
Had some client plays that he didn't want to reveal, but as always, real good information. I think we all agreed Marshall was a good play against Louisville, and everything else. Asher Musa, they have the talent, but what a horrible coach. Jeff, they have the talent. Yeah, I know. I agree. Royce Freeman. I like Prokop. They have some. They have the athletes for sure. They put countless people in the NFL. I'm just not a Helfrich guy. I mean, it's like putting Clay Helton in charge of USC. I just don't get it. Ryan, let's go through a couple others here, and then we will wrap it up tonight. And if there's anyone out there that has another game they want us to take a look at, feel free. Don't be bashful. Ryan, interesting. Georgia Southern and Western Michigan. Western Michigan laying 7 over under. That game is at 7:00 Eastern. Game 341, 342. Donnie and I were talking about this game a little bit earlier. I'm torn on where to go in this game. I'm not going to bet it. I am going to watch it though because both these teams have been very good to me against the spread over the last couple of years. In particular, Georgia Southern last year. Western Michigan hit for me last week. It was one of my plays. This is really about the number. If I can get 6.5, I'd go Western Michigan. If I get 7.5, I might look to the dog here. This could be a great game. Both these teams love to run the ball. Sean says under. Yeah, I could see that. Do you have any lean on this game?
Honestly, hard. It's hard to say, man. Because the one thing I'll say about this game is Western Michigan, I think it's pretty evident that the experience on the defensive side of the ball, that